Bartholomew Town.
All right, so we are right now seated in beautiful Narragansett, Rhode Island, at the world famous, I would argue, Coast Guard House, inside one of your custom igloos. This is such a cool location in general, the Coast Guard House, but specifically right now, it's a cold day. I woke up and I was like, okay, we're definitely in winter, and yet it's nice and warm in here. So we're going to get into the background on this and how it ties into, I don't want to necessarily tie it into outdoor dining, but just broadly thinking innovations, if you will, in service and innovations and how in the post-COVID world we've sustained some of the things that we've learned there. I think that's a really important conversation. But before we do that, if each of you could introduce yourselves and tell us about your role here at Coast Guard House.
Me first, okay. I'm Alyssa, I'm the wine director here, so I run not only the wine program, but I do some other things as well, which include some HR stuff, but mostly I'm running the wine program. So wine education, service training, curating a wine list, keeping up on wines by the glass, doing all different kinds of things wine related.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And Bob?
I'm the co-owner of the Coast Guard House, and I work with the management staff day in, day out. I like what I do.
You're well known, especially to our radio audience. I mean, I hate to ask, but can we get a sign off of your famous tagline?
Sure. See friends, see food, see view.
There it
Coast
is.
Guard House Restaurant.
Big time right there. People's ears just perked up and they're like, okay, great. The power of audio advertising, folks. Any questions? So, look, the Coast Guard House, it's got a really fascinating history, and we don't have to go all the way through it right now, but the history here, it literally was a Coast Guard house at one point. You've survived hurricanes, you've survived COVID, you've survived economic downturns, changes in now what we're seeing with some of the tariffs. I wonder if that's impacting some of the import-export with wine, with seafood in general. So all that being said, the Coast Guard House is a pillar of Rhode Island, not only dining, but a pillar of Rhode Island. What does the Coast Guard House mean to you as an institution?
I think it's a very important part of Rhode Island's history. It's been around, like you said, for a while. It started its life as a U.S. life-saving station in 1888. Became a restaurant sometime in the 40s after World War II, and it's morphed into what it is today.
I think everybody has a memory that knows the Coast Guard House, whatever, generationally. They come here and say, oh, I went here with my grandparents, or, oh, I used to go here when I was at URI. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons why people came here. Now, the changing of with URI, I know we have that commonality, is when I was at URI, my parents never came to visit me. They come all the time now, so it's a great thing. They'll come and bring their kids here, so they're creating that memory, and you hear it resonate with the parents when they come, because they say, oh my God, we're from wherever other than Rhode Island, but whenever we come here, we're going to go to the Coast Guard House to take our child out. So.
Yeah, a lot of memories for me growing up in South County of Narragansett, the Narragansett Beach to Coast Guard House pipeline, along with Terminisi's for the throwback people.
Yes.
Those were the spots. And then as I became a vegan, it was like, okay, I guess we're going to Crazy Burger. But as we'll see in just a moment, there are actually some amazing vegan offerings here. And it all comes down to an ethos of fresh, locally sourced food, prepared in a way that is unique to the space, but also isn't trying too hard to do something outside of the box. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the igloos. So we're sitting again. I think it's worth noting we're literally on the ocean. It's cold out, and yet this is a very comfortable environment. It's spacious, and it's innovative in the approach that you took during COVID to have each of these designed in a unique way. These are custom igloos. Talk about the history here and where the concept came from and how you responded to a moment of crisis with a moment of innovation.
We reached out, COVID hit, and we were looking to do something outside. Exquisite Events, who we've done things with in the past for years. We thought of them. The first igloos, if you remember, they were kind of those plastic little bubbles with not even bamboo, some type of plastic or aluminum to hold them up. Not a very good thing here on the ocean. We sent quite a few of them against the tower over there because wind just blew them off their foundations. But we had asked Kelly to decorate them so they didn't look like those plastic little tents. And she did a very good job with those, but it just wasn't the thing for here on the ocean. So we did see these, or we saw something like this at another location. So I asked, we videoed it and took some pictures and things like that. I sent it back to Kelly. I said, look at these. She's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And she ran with it from there. The ones that we did see were all decorated pretty much the same and not anywhere near to this level. So they did a fantastic job with the decoration and the organization of it. And they custom built all these pieces that kind of fit inside the igloo. So it's worked very well.
Yeah, and I think just from an observational standpoint of being in here, it feels that it's industrial design in that it's, there's, you can't see it on the video, or actually I'll shoot a B-roll so that you can see it. There's a version of a chandelier above us, and this is a comfortable space that feels appropriate for the conditions, yet it doesn't feel like we're on a sea pod or on a NOAA vessel about to have mess served here. Tough to do. How did you do it?
Well, they did a great job in decorating them, and we talked about spatially, how it works out. These are very comfortable for 8 people. Some had put a little bit more in there than that, but it just all worked out. We made sure we had good secure doors that the servers could get in and out of, and so could the customers. The first ones were kind of the zipper tent idea, and we'd have nights that all of a sudden the plastic just ripped right off one, and everybody's still sitting inside. But we haven't, knock on wood, had that problem with any of these. They're great.
Yeah. And I feel like they've evolved. So the seating has evolved a lot. The seating used to be a little bit more individual, where everybody had their own chair or their own seat. And this banquette style has worked a lot better with tables that you can pull towards you. Because some people, they didn't like the center table. It was a little awkward. So every year, exquisite events kept changing based off of feedback from the staff. And they did also we had one that was like a dining room table. Nobody ever wanted to sit in it. Isn't that weird?
Very interesting. Yeah. How many are there? How many igloos are there?
There's 6.
And they're all individually designed and have their own. We're in the Winter Wonderland igloo right now?
Correct.
So are they seasonally themed, or what's the general sense of how they were approached?
Well, this is the Winter Wonderland. We have ones down the way a little bit. One's kind of decorated in a Western theme. Another one's decorated in a wine theme. And there might be there's one that's under the sea.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And that, like a tiki. One was like a tiki kind of feeling.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What was COVID like? I mean, do we have 5 hours for that answer? But I mean, a lot of places didn't make it. A lot of places were forever changed. And Rhode Island had a tough, probably correct as we look back on it, but a tough environment for restaurants and bars to make sense of what was going to happen next. And that presented, I think, too much for a lot of businesses to withstand. What was it like for you during the height of COVID, season of COVID, if you will, and what were the biggest lessons that you learned that allowed you to survive and hopefully thrive through it?
Just the challenge of spacing and things like that. The building is, what it is, so we really weren't at 50% capacity. We were more 35 to 40 under the capacity, but just making sure we maximized and thought through. We have a very good staff, and it's great to work with them. Everybody kind of joined in, and we organized ourselves, and we were always ready to change the program if we needed to, where we always look at it that way. If it doesn't work, let's figure something else out. So, and the timing of the whole thing too, summertime, we were able to use our outside spaces, so that worked to our advantage, where we could spread people throughout the building.
Right. What about from your standpoint of, were you here during COVID?
Absolutely.
Import, export, wine environment dramatically shifted. A lot of vineyards experienced a bit of a boom because of the outdoor space. You have an outdoor space here, but just environmentally, a lot of people started to drink at home more, and by law, or not by law, by decree. And those habits in many ways I think have continued. So what changes in from a sommelier standpoint,
Okay.
would you say? But more than anything, just from a day-to-day operational standpoint, have you seen since COVID?
I think originally people were doing a lot of the like online tastings with the winemakers and things of that nature. And we tried to do things here that made people experience things. One winemaker actually did a video for us with some of their products. So they got to have a video in front of them with the wines that they were tasting, with the winemaker telling them what they were tasting and how it would work with our menu at the time. I think from a perspective of how we've evolved out of that right now, ironically, I feel like wine, and I know this is not what's trending nationally, I feel like our wine sales have accelerated this year in particular, which is great. We like to see that. So, but we've also added, responsible, non-alcoholic wines. I have 3 non-alcoholic wines on the menu, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Some places don't have any, so you have to evolve, just as Bob did when he was trying to figure out how were we going to keep the restaurant rolling, keep these families with money in their pocket and be working. I think that was very important too. And I think that also contributed to, he was named Rhode Island Hospitality Restaurateur of the Year for his COVID response in the restaurant industry. So.
Yeah, no joke. Dale Venturini definitely does not hand out awards, or did not hand out awards without thought.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, total legend. I mean, I remember sitting with her at Twin Willows, kind of in the height of COVID. Her office was in some kind of shed or something like that in the back, and we sat there, and it was like, okay, now what? How do we prevent this industry from collapsing?
Right.
And it was an enormous undertaking. So innovation is ultimately what proved to be innovation and consistency.
Yes, and I feel like after talking to other people in other states, because going to URI, a lot of my friends are not within the context of Rhode Island. Hearing their stories in states other than Rhode Island with how it was affected in dining, I think Rhode Island actually did a very good job with dealing with COVID. I think they know that the restaurant business is kind of the core of one of their employment sectors, so they had to figure out how to do it. So.
Right. Restaurants in general, particularly in seafood, and especially when you look around right now, I would make the argument, I think a lot of people would, that when we talk about the blue economy, a lot of people say it's the wind farms, or maybe it's what's happening up at the URI Bay campus, and that's all true, but it's also the tourism industry.
Yes.
And at the heart of that, in many cases, is our hospitality industry. So having igloos, day-to-day service, everything that goes into that, what's your take on the role that the hospitality industry plays in waving Rhode Island's flag to the rest of the world? And not just in the sense of the calamari comeback, let's maybe wipe that from our memories for a moment, and just in real time right now, you're a driver of the Rhode Island story. Do you think that gets elevated enough on whether a marketing level or just a vibe level around the world? People think Rhode Island and they think about something like this.
That's a hard question, I think, to know. I mean, we did, ironically, I don't remember where we were driving, but somewhere on 95, there was a billboard of Rhode Island, and it wasn't Connecticut, that I can tell you. And I was surprised that they had a big billboard, it might have been New Jersey, actually, now that I'm talking through it, that was saying to come here. Yeah. I think, it's also county specific on how, that Newport does a tremendous job, I think, with getting the word out there. And I think we're thankful over here because we get some of that.
Definitely. It's Newport Restaurant Week as we speak, and Discover Newport, Cassandra Earl and her team, they do a great job of elevating, and even with some of the maps and things like that, the visual, it's very simple to say, okay, Aquidneck Island, in their case, Bristol Warren, and hopefully spilling over into Narragansett, North Kingstown, it's accessible. And Coast Guard House feels accessible. Is that a secret to some of your success? Is location matters? I mean, is that a big part of it?
I think that's part of it. It's always had a great location, but hasn't always had a stellar reputation. I think we spend a lot of time with our staff and things like that, and I think it's the hospitality piece that's most important. Obviously, food and drink and the view help, but I think the hospitality piece or getting to know our customers is very important, and we're all very focused on that. I also think that Rhode Island, maybe as a state, should spend money outside the area. We're all very lucky. We live in a great state. This is my adopted state, and I love it. But we get people, obviously, in the summer that come here for vacation, but we get, like we were talking about before, a large amount of URI parents that say they had no idea that Rhode Island was this nice, and they just love it. And I always joked on that. This was my adopted state, and I never left after college, and they get it, but they hope their child doesn't do that.
Right.
Come back home.
Exactly.
But it's a great area, and that billboard that she saw in New Jersey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes up, my family's all over the country. They try to get up here once a year. They love it when they come.
Yeah.
So Rhode Island's got a lot to offer.
All right. From the standpoint of installing these, did you encounter any kind of weird zoning stuff on a municipal level or statewide level? And in general, from just an interactivity with government, but be it the zoning boards or Narragansett Town Council or the governor's office or the General Assembly, how's that relationship been during and since COVID that has maybe allowed for you to take chances like installing custom igloos on nearly, well, Narragansett Bay, but for all intents and purposes on the open ocean?
It went pretty well. They gave us the opportunity with the Take It Outside program. We asked, what we needed to do. The town and the state were very good about it. Obviously, we want to make sure they're safe and things like that. So they were inspected. They were inspected by the fire department, the building inspector, and somewhere in this igloo is a fire extinguisher. But all those things we made sure we had in place, and they were great to work with. It went very painlessly.
Well, congratulations. Last thing I want to do here is this is for all of you out there that are also vegan or vegetarian. Or maybe you just don't feel like having seafood, but you want to come hang out in an igloo. That's also an option as well, as you can see. Fantastic vegan cuisine. And as I eat this, I'm glad I'm not wearing a microphone right now that's like hear my jaw in action. But just in terms of the importance of, look, it's become a little bit passe. We've seen more and more places start to talk about locally sourced, organic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How important is it to you as purveyors and as servers to source your ingredients and to share that story, not necessarily saying this sweet potato comes from this farm, but share that sort of age-old story of locally sourced food, and when you look out there and a little bit further out there, what you bring back and serve most people who come here that aren't choosing the vegan options.
It's very important. We're all in this together, the whole community. We deal with so many different people and businesses and things like that. The local thing is very important to us. We have a lot of great farmers, a lot of good local breweries and winemakers and things like that, and we deal with everyone we possibly can.
Congratulations. This is amazing, by the way. So this looks amazing. This is how you do it in the big time, folks. Guy Fieri, take note.
I know we even had a section on our menu this past summer season where it just said local wines, so representing some of the Newport and Greenvale as well as Seconic. So we had that going on for us, and surprisingly, people were willing to take the initiative to go ahead and try that, even though maybe some of the Great Friday might have been something they weren't familiar with.
See friends. See food, see view, may have had them out of order, doesn't matter. The Coast Guard House, it's the place to be. These igloos are amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Innovation. Rhode Island is a state full of a lot of innovators, and these stories should be told, because I feel like too often we find ourselves in a position where we go, oh man, up in Boston or down in New York or in Rotterdam or whatever it is, things are happening and we're just kind of stuck here, and can you believe the Washington Bridge is still broken or whatever it is. All true, all problems. But innovation is in our DNA, and it's great to see it in action. Congratulations. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
A pleasure.
Bartholomew Town is brought to you by Navigant Credit Union, Half Street Group, the University of Rhode Island Online, and Newport Film.